Hello everybody. In this video we're going to learn how to simplify even more complex expressions. Now complex doesn't mean more difficult, it just means more steps. And as you can see we have more steps. The last ones we only had to worry about these two steps. Combining using the product property and then reducing using the quotient property. Notice that they're still here. They're still the last two steps. We are going to use the product property to combine and the quotient property to reduce. But we need to do two more steps beforehand to kind of prep our expressions to get to that point. And really the one thing that gets added into this is the power property. The power property is going to make a lot of things just a little more, let's just say, laborious. There's more work involved when you put exponents on top of exponents. So I like to follow this order. If anything is in a parentheses that can be simplified, I like to simplify that first and then use the exponent. This is just going to keep things a little more, how should I say, just more compact and easy to work with. You can do these in a different order, but in my experience, this is the best order to complete them. So let's just practice. Let's just learn by practicing, right? This first one right up here. Notice that nothing that is in this parentheses can be simplified. It's as simple as it gets. So I'm actually going to just be done with the first step already. Now I'm going to use the power property to distribute any exponents that I see. There's an exponent outside this parentheses, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and distribute this exponent to the m and to the 2. And what this is going to do is it's going to change this into 2 squared, which is 4. And then I'll multiply 2 times 2, so m to the 4th power, times 4m cubed, just writing what's on the outside with it, all over 3m. All right, and now we've got it to a point where we can do what we did in the last video. Combine with the product property, reduce with the quotient property. So let's do that. Let's combine. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 plus 3 is m to the 7th. And all of this is going to be over 3m. And I'm going to do this right now, m to the 1st, because it's just an m, so we know it's a 1. That's not a surprise now. All right, it's combined. So just as a reminder, this was step 1. Step 2, step 3, and now we're going to do step 4, where we reduce using the quotient property. Start by dividing the coefficients. Does 16 divide by 3? No, it doesn't. Neither does it the other way around, so we're just going to keep it as 16 thirds. This doesn't simplify, so it's done. And then what's 7 minus 1? 7 minus 1 is 6. The 7 is bigger, so I'll put m to the 6th power on top. There we go. That's the first one. So again, simplify anything in parentheses, distribute any exponents on the outside, then combine with the product property, reduce with the quotient property, box your final answer. Let's do another one. Notice this does take up a lot of lateral or horizontal space. So when you're doing these, you might want to make sure you have a lot of room to the left and right, not so much to the up and down. It's a lot easier to work with fractions left to right than it is up and down. Okay, sweet. So I do have something I can simplify down here in this parentheses. This whole fraction is in a parentheses, and I'm going to do this simplifying first. Again, simplify the parentheses first. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. So I'm going to put that there because that's not changing. The top, I can't combine anything on the top, so I'll do that. But I can simplify the bottom here. This is technically a 1x to the 4th and 4x squared. That means I will multiply 1 times 4, which is 4. And I'll add 4 and 2, which is 6. So 4x to the 6th power. Okay. That's been simplified, at least relatively nicely. I could simplify it further and... yeah, I could simplify it further, right? I could then go and divide what's in here. I could go 1 divided by 4 is still 1 over 4, and then this would cancel out and turn this into a 3. So I get 1 over 4x cubed. And now I'm ready to square it. So simplified the parentheses. Now I'm going to use the power property. And the power property is where I take this exponent and I distribute it to everything on the inside. I'm going to distribute it to this 1. I'm going to distribute it to this 3. I'm going to distribute it to this 4 down here. So let's do it. We're going to end up with a new, I don't even need the parentheses now, a new power. 1 squared is just 1. 4 squared is 16. And x cubed squared, well, that would just be 3 times 2, is x to the 6th. There we go. I don't have anything to combine, so I don't have to do step 3. I don't have anything to divide, so I don't have to do step 4. And we box our final answer. And that's the power of simplifying everything first. If you can simplify everything in the parentheses first, when you use the product property, you're going to have a lot less work. If I didn't simplify everything in the parentheses, I would have to distribute this 2 to this 3, distribute this 2 to this 4, distribute this 2 to this 2, distribute this 2 to this 4, distribute this 2 to this 1, and then I would have to do all that math and then combine it with bigger numbers and then subtract it and divide it with bigger numbers. It's just a lot more work. So please, try and do it this method. You're going to find out it's a lot easier. Simplify what you can in the parentheses, use the product property, the power property, then do what we did in the last video. All right, let's do a couple more. These are a little longer, so expect a longer video. Just warning you. All right, in this one, I don't have anything that I can combine in this parentheses, so I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to write what's on top because I haven't done step 2 yet, which is to distribute this exponent using the power property. 2 to the 3rd power is 8. And then 2 times 3 is 6. Remember, with the power property, we raise the coefficient by the power and multiply the power by the outside power. So we end up with 8n to the 6th. Now I'm ready to combine and reduce. This is going to be 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. And then 3 plus 4, which is n to the 7th. There you go. And on the bottom, 8 n to the 6th, because I can't really do anything to the bottom. No combining. Lastly, we reduce. 3 and 8 can't be divided, so I'm just going to write it as 3/8. Keep it simple, right? It's already simplified, so we're done there. And then 7 minus 6 is going to be a 1. But which one turns into the 1? Well, remember, the smaller number gets canceled out, and the larger number turns into the new one. So we're going to end up with 3 n to the 1st power over 8. And technically, we don't even need that 1st power. It's just redundant. All right, box it up. Next one. Much like the last one here, I can't really simplify the inside of this this parentheses, so I'm just going to skip the first step and go to the second step. Distribute the power. 3 squared is 9, and 4 times 2 is 8, so n to the 8th. Remember, distribute the power to the coefficient means raising it. Distributing the power to the exponent just means multiplying it. All right, and then the top here, 4n squared times 4n cubed. Now I'm ready to combine and then reduce. 4 times 4 is 16. 2 plus 3 is 5, so I get 16n to the 5th over 9n to the 8th. Dividing, 9 and 16 don't divide, so I'm going to keep that as a fraction. 16 over 9. Again, I ran out of lateral room, so I'm bringing it down here. When you see this symbol here on the side, that usually means continue where you left off, just right here. The little arrow I like to use when I do that. Make that clear. It's an arrow. All right. And then what is n to the 5th divided by n to the 8th? Well, the 5th is smaller, so it's going to completely cancel out. And then 5 minus 8 turns into a 3. Or 8 minus 5, rather. And so I'll have 16n to the 3rd power. 16 over 9 times n to the 3rd power. Sorry, misspoke there. All right, I'm going to do 2 more. I know that these are going really fast, so maybe watch this in a slower speed or replay the videos, but please pause them, try them yourself, and then check with Mr. Grab. Okay? 2 more. All right. This looks a little more intimidating because I've got 2 parentheses, but notice I don't really have anything to simplify, so I can skip that first step. But I do have things I can distribute, so the second step is to distribute that exponent with the power property. I can distribute it to the top, so I'll do that now. Draw a straight line. I'll have x cubed times, and then 2 to the 4th power. What would that be? That'd be 16. And then cubed to the 4th power just means 3 times 4, which is 12, so 16x to the 12th. Then on the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing here. I don't have a coefficient, so I just multiply the exponent, x to the 12th. Cool. All right, now we're ready to combine and simplify. There's an invisible 1 next to that x, so actually, multiply first, right? 1 times 16 is just 16. And then 3 plus 12 is, that's right, 15. There's the top. There's the bottom. Technically at 1, right? All right. And now reduce. 16 and 1, well, I know that that's just going to be 16. 16 divided by 1 is 16, so I'll put the 16 on top. This x to the 12th is going to completely eliminate. It's going to minus this 15 and turn the 15 into a 3. And so we're going to end up with, because 15 minus 12 is 3, if that's where you're wondering where the 3 came from. That's going to be 16x cubed over 1. Box it. Wrap it up. Send it off. All right, last one. Really, there wasn't many where we had to simplify the parentheses, but trust me, if you can, simplify the insides, then go for the outsides. 2n can't really be simplified, so I'm just going to skip straight to step 2. Distribute this 3 to the other ones. 2 to the 3rd power is 8. And then n, I'm just going to distribute this 3 to the n. So 8 times n to the 3rd power. Nice and easy. Now the bottom. Almost did 2 steps in 1. 3n to the 4th times 3n squared. Now I'm ready to combine and then reduce. What's 3 times 3? Easy, Mr. Grab, that's 9. What's 4 plus 2? Easy, Mr. Grab, that's going to be n to the 6th. And we'll keep 8n cubed on top. And now reduce. What's 8 divided by 9? Well, Mr. Grab, everybody knows that that's just going to be a fraction. 8/9. You're so smart. And then 6 minus 3. The 3 is smaller, so that gets completely eliminated. And I say completely eliminated, but please recall it's turning into just a little 1 there. 8 times 1 is just 8, so we're not going to actually see it. But that's what's happening. And this 6 minus 3 is just going to turn to a 3. So my final answer will be 8 on top times 1, which is just 8. And then on the bottom, 9 times n to the 3rd power. Box it. Send it off for Christmas. And there you have it, folks. Simplifying exponents. This is as complicated as it's probably going to get. So please remember the steps. To simplify any exponent, you're going to simplify the inside of the parentheses as much as you can. So that means using the different properties to combine or reduce the inside of the parentheses. And then after all the parentheses have been simplified, you're going to go ahead and use the product property to distribute your exponent to each of the remaining terms. And then if you can, you'll use the product property to combine and the quotient property to divide. All right. Hopefully you were practicing along, and by doing so I mean pausing and then playing. If not, and you've watched this whole video, I encourage you to go back, start over, and practice correctly this time. Pause and play. Even if you already know what the answers are, it's still important to know how to get them. Okay, I will see you in the next video.